We are a center, if anything, as a little center-right country, and that's being shown.
Joe Manchin went on CNN's New Day with John Berman to spread his propaganda, and at no point was there any rejection of the crap he was saying. So this is the main clip I want to focus on here. This is Joe Manchin claiming that the majority of people are either moderate or on the right. Now, I will tell you where he gets that from, and then I will show you the reality. But first, here's the clip.
We just have to work together. We can't go too far left. This is not a center-left or a left country. We are a center, if anything, as a little center-right country, and that's being shown. And we ought to be able to recognize that. And all of my friends on the left are progressives or liberals or whatever. I said, I'm not. I always say that I'm a responsible West Virginia Democrat. And I'm fiscally responsible and socially compassionate. I think most people in the middle feel that way. But I also empathize with the people on the far left and the far right. That's aspirational. But come together, realize what can and can't be done. Don't force basically something that's not going to happen to make people believe it will.
All right. We will get to where Joe Manchin gets this from and the reality. First, I just want to mention here, he says in that clip that the far right and the far left are both aspirational. Yes, the far left fighting for free healthcare for everyone, just as aspirational as the far right fighting for a white ethno-state. Yes, equally aspirational. It's so stupid. This comparison, trying to compare the two, be it whether you're complaining about them or whether you're saying they're both aspirational, it's so ridiculous. One side is actually fighting for human rights. The other side is fighting to eliminate massive groups of people. I think one is clearly a little more rational than the other one. Now, let's get to first where Joe Manchin gets his crap from. So he claims here that most people are in the center or center-right. Well, this is where he likely gets that from. Polling on how people self-identify. So I just pulled this one out. This is Gallup research here, who says Americans' overall ideological views were about the same in 2020 as 2019, with 36% on average identifying as conservative, 35% as moderate, and 25% as liberal. So you can take a look at the graph there. That's where people self-identify. Now, here's the issue. How people self-identify doesn't actually communicate what they do or don't support. So some person may think they are on the right, they may think they're conservative, but are actually in support of higher taxes on the rich, are actually in support of expanding Medicare. But they may view themselves as on the right on certain cultural issues because that's what the media largely focuses on. They don't focus on wealth inequality, they largely focus on cultural issues. So based on how they are communicated to, they probably think they're on the right. Because when you break down poll after poll on various specific progressive policies, the vast majority of people side with those progressive policies. And I'll give you some examples right here. So first, let's go with West Virginia. So Joe Manchin said he's a responsible West Virginia Democrat. I'm not sure what that means, but here's where the majority of people in West Virginia, here's how they feel about the Build Back Better bill, the provisions in it. So this is from Data for Progress that says here, a majority of West Virginia voters support the provisions of the Build Back Better plan. So you can go through them here. I will quickly. Invest in long-term care. It's a net plus 78. Expand Medicare coverage plus 70. Child care investments plus 53. Extend tax cuts for families plus 48. Paid family and medical leave plus 46. Universal pre-K plus 42. Extend ACA subsidies plus 40. Clean energy investments plus 28. And keep in mind, this is just West Virginia. If you do the entire country, the numbers are even higher. But looking at this, you may think West Virginia is a crazy leftist state. But the fact is, supporting these provisions is the moderate position. Being on what would be the left in Washington, being on the left is actually moderate when it comes to where the vast majority of people sit on these issues. Get a little more specific here. So, and by the way, you can feel free to do your own research because this is what the vast majority of polling shows. So let's look at this one. This is from Pew Research. 2/3 of Americans favor raising federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. So this is from 2019. But you see here, majority support that. Again, you can do your own research. You'll find very similar results. This one from Reuters Ipsos poll also shows a majority of Americans support the $15 an hour minimum wage. This is from this year. Let's look at another issue here, Medicare for all. So this is from comparing 2018 and 2020. It's barely changed, but here you have the vast majority of people supporting Medicare for every American, 70% in October 2018, 69% in April 2020. Also, taxes on the rich. So here you have from Reuters, majority of Americans favor wealth tax on very rich. Reuters Ipsos poll. You can also look at Gallup polling and look at that over the years, and very similar here. So when you look at Americans' views of taxes paid by four groups, 2017 and 2018, you go down to, so you see here, fair share, too much, too little. People think, the vast majority of people think, 62% in 2018 think that upper income people pay too little in taxes. 66% of people think corporations pay too little in taxes. So this is, again, a moderate position. So if Joe Manchin, when he says that most people are in the center, if this is what he means, the center is progressive economic policy, then yes, most people are the center, but you know that's not what he means. He means the center in terms of the way that is defined in Washington. So most people are in support of lower corporate tax rates for massive corporations paying nothing in taxes. People like that? No, that's ridiculous. But Manchin, of course, is playing his games, isn't going to say that. And CNN, of course, not going to push him on it. Now, that interview with Joe Manchin, it went on for it was like 10 minutes long. There were aspects that John Berman kind of pushed Manchin on paid leave. Like he's saying, do West Virginians really not want paid leave? So there were, moments there where he pushed back. But I have never seen pushback on any politician or anyone that has claimed that the majority of people are right-leaning or moderate. I've never seen any moment on television where there's been pushback on that idea. And you see that pushed out there again and again and again, be it from Joe Scarborough on MSNBC or Joe Manchin here on CNN saying that the majority of Americans are moderate or right-leaning. That's simply not true, unless you're talking about moderate being, the policies I just showed you that are so popular, but that's not what they mean. So this is just another dishonest appearance from Joe Manchin, but it's important to correct that misinformation because a lot of people do think that America is right-leaning or in the center somewhere, when in reality, that's simply not the case. Most people side with the progressive view on these policies.